Now let's get into it. Israel's mass extermination program in Gaza is the most documented live-streamed genocide in the history of mass murder. But due to the corrupting and pernicious influence of the Israeli lobby, it's also the most denied genocide in history. With the media working overtime to run interference for Israel, publishing one article after another to divert criticism and attention away from the Zionist army, while it butchers 60,000 innocent people inside the world's largest concentration camp. A crime of genocide carried out with the help of the US government's lies and propaganda.
We do not believe what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. We have been firmly on record rejecting that proposition.
Have you ever noticed that those who shout the loudest about others' crimes often have the most to hide? In today's lecture, we are diving deep into a powerful truth hidden in plain sight, that every accusation is often a confession. The West repeatedly blames the Muslim world for extremism, backwardness, and violence. But what if history tells a different story? What if those very accusations are actually projections of their own actions, past and present? This is not just a political analysis. It's about reclaiming our narrative, understanding our history, and preparing ourselves to answer with knowledge, especially for CSS and competitive exams, but more importantly for the future of informed Muslim leadership. So stay with me as we uncover the hidden face of Western imperialism in the Muslim world and break down the myths layer by layer. In international politics, there are psychological phenomena known as projection, where one accuses others of the very behavior they themselves are guilty of. When we apply this lens to relationship between the West and the Muslim world, we uncover a powerful truth. Many Western accusations about extremism, violence, oppression are often reflections of their own historical and ongoing actions. Western narratives typically portray the Muslim world as backward, intolerant, violent, or authoritarian. These ideas are reinforced in media, politics, and even academic discourse, but history tells a very different story, a story of Western imperialism, resource extraction, violent interventions, and the systematic dismantling of the Muslim sovereignty. For example, while the West accuses Muslims of extremism, it was the West that colonized, bombed, occupied, and redrew the borders of the Muslim nations, often leading to the chaos we see today. What is framed as defensive action or spreading democracy often hides military aggression, control, and economic gain. Western imperialism in the Muslim world. From the 18th to 20th centuries, much of the Muslim world was systematically colonized by Western empires. France invaded Egypt in 1798, setting the tone for future colonial incursions. It annexed Algeria in 1830 and later occupied Tunisia in 1881 and Morocco in 1912. The British Empire controlled India, Iraq, Palestine, and the Gulf states. The Dutch ruled over Indonesia, the world's largest Muslim majority country. So these powers exploited natural resources like oil and minerals, controlled trade routes, suppressed local governance, and replaced it with Western administrators. This was not just political control, it was economic plunder and cultural domination. Imperialist exploitation and Muslim responses. Wherever there was colonialism, resistance was inevitable. The Muslim world produced countless reform movements, scholars, and freedom fighters. Think of Imam Shamil Abdul Qadir in Algeria or Maulana Muhammad Ali Johar in India. After the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, Muslims struggled to re-establish independence and identity, but colonial legacies, broken borders, imposed rulers, and weak institutions left long-term damage. The resistance was not just military, it was intellectual and spiritual. Reformers and thinkers tried to revive Islamic values while adapting to the modern world. Islamic extremism, accusations rooted in intervention. The West today often labels Islamic movements as extremist or terrorist, but these accusations ignore a major historical truth. Much of the so-called extremism was born from direct Western interventions. In Afghanistan, the US and Soviet Union turned it into a Cold War battlefield. The US even funded and armed the Mujahideen to fight the Soviets. After the war, those fighters were abandoned and chaos followed. Out of this vacuum rose the Taliban and eventually Al-Qaeda. The stationing of US military bases in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait, especially during and after the Gulf War, angered many Muslims and was cited by Osama bin Laden himself as a major grievance. So who planted the seeds of extremism? Who destabilized these regions? These are questions that need honest answers. How Western interventions fueled radicalism. Then let's look at the long-term impact of these interventions. The Taliban, initially supported by the West to counter communism, became radical after decades of war and isolation. Western alliances with authoritarian regimes like those in Egypt, Saudi Arabia and others contradict Western claims of supporting democracy and freedom. The occupation of Palestine by Israel, heavily backed by the West, especially the US, has fueled global Muslim anger. The West supporters human rights elsewhere but turns a blind eye to Israeli apartheid and settler violence. So when we hear about Muslims' radicalism, we must ask what caused it, who provoked it. The cycle of projection, accusation and confessions. When Western leaders or media accuses Muslims of being violent, look at their own record. Who dropped atomic bombs on civilians? Who invaded Iraq under false pretenses? Who sold weapons to dictators while preaching democracy? This is projection in its purest form. Western nations extract resources from poorer nations, militarize foreign policy, undermine democracy abroad, yet accuses others of being violent or undemocratic. These accusations often confess their own crimes without realizing it. Modern parallels and case studies. Let's look at recent case studies that show this hypocrisy. Iraq 2003 invasion without UN approval. Over 1 million Iraqis died and civil infrastructure collapsed. No weapons of mass destruction were found. Afghanistan 2001 to 2021, 20 years of occupation, then a hasty exit. Taliban returned to power. What was achieved? Western media always highlight Muslim terrorists but ignores drone strikes, civilian deaths, black sites. Muslim suffering is underreported while Western loss is dramatized. So when West criticizes Muslim countries for dictatorship, yet backs military regimes and monarchies when it suits their interest. Meanwhile, rising authoritarianism, racism and surveillance are spreading within Western societies themselves. Re-examining the narrative. The narrative warfare needs to be re-examined. Every accusation about Muslims being violent, backward, extremist often reflects a Western confession about its own history and role in the Muslim world. The Muslim memory of colonialism, betrayal and exploitation has not faded, and it shapes the keep distrust of the West today. True engagement requires honest history, mutual respect and the end of the double standards. If you do not tell your own history, someone else will, and they will make you the villain. As we have seen, from colonial exploitations to modern invasions, from media bias to military occupation, many Western accusations toward Muslims are in fact reflections of their own historical and present-day injustice. Understanding this is not just about blame, it's about truth, because without truth, there can be no justice, and without justice, peace is just a slogan. If you are preparing for CSS or just trying to become a more aware citizen of the Muslim world, you must learn to question dominant narrative. You must become a voice that can respond not with emotion but with evidence. And remember, if you do not tell your own story, someone else will, and they will make you the villain.